but let's talk about a few things. Okay. So, announcements wise for you guys, we did launch the trick or treat challenge in the Facebook group, which is so fun. Leah did such a great job on the graphic, and I'm really excited for just, again, people focusing on these little cute trick or treats this October. I would love for all of you guys, in those watching live and those catching the recording, to jump in there and tag a friend, tag somebody that you want to compete with. I think that would be fun. Like, who can finish trick or treat first? There's a good amount of things on there in the Facebook group and that October challenge. Again, they're always just made to be fun. I still need to go back and see who won all of the step challenge. And I'll choose that winner. But I do think it's really fun just to, again, do this little trick or treat challenge. Like, it's nothing serious, but I do think tagging a friend and being like, hey, let's compete for trick or treat, see who can make it through those the fastest is going to be great. Knowing that you also can complete more than one thing per day, right? So you could do as you see, I put on there fold and put away your laundry, right? How many of us do that at once? I'm definitely really bad about that. Make a 30-gram protein smoothie, drink a gallon of water, do a face mask. Like, there's multiple things on there that you could cross off in like one day. But of course, the person who fills their treat bag the fullest is going to win. And of course, if there's multiple people that fill their treat bags the fullest, then we'll make sure that we get those people in a drawing accordingly. So, Facebook challenge is live. Just wanted you guys to see that. Second thing is, in the Facebook group tonight, I asked, or today, just thinking about some of your goals for the month of October. I always think it's important to start a new month nice and fresh and really figure out what are your goals and why do you want to achieve those things. Hopefully, all of you have thought about a goal in mind or goals in mind that are going to grow with us the last little part of 2025, right? So the next 30 days, and then they'll turn into 60-day goals and 90-day goals, which is what we're going to talk about. So let's jump right into that tonight. And if you guys have any questions, please stop me and we'll use maybe some of your guys' goals as examples and we'll break them down. So as always, I think it's important to remember that if we go in without a plan, we're going to feel underprepared. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's one of my favorite things that Logan has ever said because it is so true that when you properly prepare, it prevents you from poorly performing. And it's something that I think his high school or college football coaches, one of them said, but it's so true. Like, giving yourself a target to shoot for, something to work for. But also, I think it's important to remember that goal setting should intimidate you. It should be a little bit scary. It should be a little bit like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit this or not, right? And I think it's important to remember that some of us have been getting real comfortable with setting the bar low and touching it instead of setting it so high and missing it. And that's something that I want to talk about. In the past, I definitely have set goals that if the bar is here, the goal's like right here, right? Just so I feel good about hitting it. Like, okay, I'm good. I just hit that, right? But again, if we are setting the bar so low and just nudging it, are we actually moving closer towards our goals? Or would we move so much closer towards our goals if the bar is up here and the goal is up here too, right? Now, maybe we don't make it to that complete goal, but we get a hell of a lot closer to this bar than something down here, right? So that's what I see a lot of the times. People get really comfortable with setting goals that they can just hit instead of setting goals that actually kind of scare the crap out of them and actually make them work maybe every single day or intentionally. That's a key word, intentionally, quite a few times a week, right? And we need to change that. If you don't have a goal, you can't have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you can't prepare. So let's talk about the 30, 60, 90 rule. This is very familiar to a lot of you guys, but it's really good for us to break down these goals into 30, 60, 90 because your goals that you just said today are going to and should morph into goals for November and goals for December. For example, I saw Angie's goals. She put in there, I think it was three times a week, 45 minutes of movement. That is a phenomenal goal for 30 days. And then maybe at 60 days, we bump that up to 45 minutes of movement 4 times a week. And then it's 45 minutes of movement 5 times a week for December, right? Our goals should be able to evolve. We should be able to cycle through them. But this 30, 60, 90, as we look forward, it ultimately tells you where you're going to be in the next month, 2 months, and 3 months. Today marks, again, 90 days until the end of the year, but also the enter of quarter four as well, right? We've got 3 months left of this year. And if we look back to look forward, you are a result of your decisions 30, 60, 90 days ago. The reason you are where you are right here, right now, whether you like it, whether you love it, whether it could be better, whether it's meh, all of those things are decisions of 30, 60, 90 days ago. And we have to ask ourselves, one of my favorite quotes I ever heard quite a while ago, and I wish I remember where it was from, but it is that do your efforts match your expectations? Is the effort and the work that you are putting in, is that matching up to ultimately the expectation that you're wanting and you're setting for your journey? That is so important. Are you 3 out of 7 for nutrition every week? 4 out of 7? 5 out of 7? 5 out of 7 is good, but guess what, guys? That's 71%, right? Like that's dang near failing. So think about how much we actually have to be on in order to see progress throughout the week, right? And these things are going to help tell us where we're going and where we need to change moving forward. So we can't change anything about the last 30, 60, 90 days, but we absolutely can change things about the next 30, 60, 90 days. So let's talk about some 30-day goals. So what would be some good goals for, again, because I asked everybody to do this, what would be some good goals for you to set the next 30 days? If you're struggling to think of them, maybe you want to modify and change yours, let's talk, right? First one, set a fitness goal, right? Maybe complete a 30-day fitness challenge. Maybe you're doing the 4-week sprint train with Kelsey challenge, which is so good. It's so great to see so many of you logging the workouts this week. They're freaking hard, but they are awesome. Or participate in a daily workout routine, like something like a squat goal, something like a yoga goal, or increase your workout frequency, right? Maybe you've only been doing 2 days a week, and your goal for the month of October is to do 3 days a week. That is fantastic. But with all of these things, a word that I said that was very important in the beginning of this call, and we will come back to, is intentionality. Intention with everything that we do, having intent behind it. So if you say, I'm going from 2 to 3 days a week, that needs to be backed up with, okay, right now, if I'm working out on Tuesday and Thursday, I need to figure out where to fit that third workout. Am I now switching to Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Am I switching to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? Where does that go, right? Where does that fit? Because if you just say you want to work out 3 times a week, well, guess what we're all going to do? Push it to the back half of the week. That's innate. That's human to push off the to tough things, right? And that's our brain finding the easy way, finding that solution. So it's important for us to remember that again, these fitness goals over the next, 30 days, how many days a week are you training? What days a week are you training? If you're going from 2 to 3 workouts, where are you going to shove that third workout? Or 3 to 4, where are you going to shove that, right? So that's important, and again, a goal that we could have for these next 30 days. When we shift then and we talk about nutrition, right? And I put these in the chat for you guys. Something that we could go off of is, meal prep. Prepare at least 5 healthy meals per week, 5 days per week. Increase your water intake. Maybe you're slacking at about 60 ounces of water and you want to jump up to 100 ounces. Maybe you're going to, stop putting off the meal prep that you said you were going to, right? Last week I did that announcement about flaky friends and how nobody likes flaky friends, right? You guys would be mad if your friend made plans, canceled. Made plans, canceled. Made plans, canceled. You'd be like, why am I even friends with this person? Do they even want to be friends with me? It's no different than what we do on our health and fitness journeys, right? Or what you do on your health and fitness journey. I'm guilty of it too. So saying, hey, I'm going to meal prep at this time, meal prep at that time. I will share with you guys, for example, when Logan was peak training, okay, for his kettlebell comp 2 years ago, he was eating 3,800 calories a day. Okay, 3,800 calories a day. That's so many, right? I felt like I was cooking all the time. But what we've done for us, what works well, is we meal prep on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. So we have a whole bunch of chicken cooking right now, potatoes, all that different stuff. So it works well for us to do half the week and then half the week again. That's probably going to work well for you guys too. If you are, really busy, you got kids in lots of sports, different things like that. But what is maybe a nutrition goal? Maybe your goal is just physically to track all of your food. If it's been like, you know what, I've been really consistent in and out of the app, I need to track all my food. Great. But like, how are you going to hold yourself accountable to that? Do you want to take a screenshot and send it to me at the end of the day? Do you want to post it on your story? Like it could be anything, right? But holding yourself accountable to that is a really great 30-day goal. When we talk about weight management and physique, right? There's nothing wrong with setting a weight loss goal, setting a physique goal. Lose 1 to 2 pounds per week for the next 4 weeks, or set a goal to lose 4 to 8 pounds by the end of the month, right? Anywhere from zero point 0.5, so 0.5 to 1.5 pounds is really realistic in a week and is sustainable. Absolutely is sustainable. 1 pound of fat, I'll do this math for you guys because I don't think I've shared this with you, equals 3,500 calories. Okay. So let's say that every single day you're in a 500 calorie deficit. Excuse me. Sorry, that came out of nowhere. Woo. Again. Ooh. All right. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. Let's say that you're in a 500 calorie deficit every day, which isn't too hard to get to, right? Well, if we did 500 times the 7 days, we're going to get that 3,500, right? That's what it's going to be. So if you're in a 500 calorie deficit every day, you could expect to lose 1 pound that week. So maybe you're saying, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to track my cows in versus cows out. I'm going to use my Oura Ring. I'm going to use my Apple Watch, my Fitbit, Garmin, whatever. And I'm going to look for that deficit because if that deficit's not there, I'm not going to be losing weight. So we can kind of tweak those numbers based on how much we want to see from a poundage loss standpoint and make sure that we're moving in the right direction. So what do again, do you want a weight loss goal? Do you want a physique goal? Do you want to fit a pair into your favorite pair of pants that you still hold on to or go down a notch on your belt loop? All of those things are great. And while they're seemingly non-scale victories from the physique standpoint, they still are really great victories as well. And of course, we could set something like a flexibility goal, right? 10 minutes to dedicated stretching. Annette said at the beginning of this call, she's going to do 200 minutes on her rebounder this month. Awesome. I'm doing 200 miles on our stationary bike. Could be anything like that, but that's really, really, really great to think about. So those are some good 30-day goals from a fitness nutrition standpoint. Those 30-day goals need to be something that you can accomplish in the next 30 days. What is not a 30-day goal? I want to lose 20 pounds. Not going to happen. You want to lose 20 pounds? Cut off your arm, right? There you go. Or cut off half of a leg, something like that. Or saying, you know what? Yeah, I'll be better about tracking my nutrition. Okay, but more specific, how are you going to be better about it? What are you falling short with? Are you really great with like breakfast, snack, lunch, and then you fall off? Or is it, you're not planning dinners well. So then you get in this scenario of like, well, we'll just go out to eat, right? We'll just go out to eat and we'll get it all taken care of. And then you feel like crap the next day, right? So what is that? Those are some great 30-day goals. Now, talking about 60-day goals, right? So these are the things that I want you guys to think about, which is why I said, hey, by end of day today, get me over those goals so we can talk about them. Here are some 60-day goals that we can focus on and that we can think about. So let me just type these in the chat. 60-day goals for you guys. Just want to make sure you have all this. Here's some things that we could bump up these original goals by, right? So maybe let's say 30 days, your goal is to work out from 2 to 3 days a week or 3 to 4 days a week. Well, then something by 60 days could be, hey, I want to run a 5K, right? I want to train to run a 5K without stopping. So I'm going to strength train this month. I'm going to get some more steps in. I'm going to try some run walks, right? You could back up that 30-day goal to get to that 60-day goal because it's not realistic. If many of you said, I'm going to run a half marathon in 2 weeks, good luck, right? It's gonna be crazy. If you say I'm gonna run a 5K in 2 weeks, all right, we might be able to, but we'd probably feel a lot better with something like a 30-day prep ahead of time, right? So maybe we increase our strength training by 10%. So maybe we want to, right now you're doing train with Kelsey and you're doing bicep curls with 15s. Maybe by the end of the month or by the end of 60 days, you want to be doing them with 20s. Great goal. Maybe right now you can do 3 modified push-ups and you want to be able to do 1 or 2 full push-ups by the end of 60 days. Again, be realistic with it. What can happen? With nutrition, do you want to follow a balanced diet with at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day, 3 servings of fruits and veggies a day? Do you want to reduce body fat by 1 to 2%? Do you want to sleep for longer periods of time? Right? But all of those things at 60 days, those a little bit bigger goals, have to be set up first with 30-day goals, which is exactly why we start with those 30 days. So when you guys are thinking about your goals specifically, from October to November, you need to up the stakes by November a little bit. So I like thinking, okay, just like I said, I'm committing to 200 miles on our stationary bike in the month of October. What would be a really feasible goal or a little bit more difficult or harder for the month of November is saying, I'm going to commit to 300 miles, right? I'm going to up it by 100 miles, or I'm going to do 250 miles. For example, Annette's goal, she's doing 200 minutes on the rebounder. Maybe she does 225 next month, something like that. She just completed 100 miles in September walking, right? Maybe she challenges herself to 125 for the month of, November or whatever it is, guys, right? We can take these goals Because obviously you wrote that goal down for something. You wanted to do that goal for some reason because you inherently know if I do this goal, I will get these results. You have attached an idea of results to those goals. So sitting back and figuring out what can I do for those goals and how can I get there is going to be massive. So don't forget about that. Okay. Those are the 60-day goals. Then let's quick talk about our 90-day goals. So where do you want to be? Oh, I love this, Allison. Just put my 30-day goal in the reminder for my calendar, 4 days a week for Train with Kelsey and planned out the days. Heck yeah, girl. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to do, right? Because I was just sharing, I know Michelle just jumped off the call, but I was just sharing with her that with my schedule changing, going from recording 3 Train with Kelsey workouts a week to now 4 Train with Kelsey workouts a week, my rest days are all messed up, right? So I used to train and then had these certain rest days. And now I'm like, hmm, I'm losing a rest day because I'm gaining a training day. So like, where am I gonna modify and hit different things like that? So I think it's important for us to be like, okay, how do we put this on the calendar, structure it, because if it's not on the calendar, if it's not on my Google Calendar, it's not happening, right? It's just not happening. So I love that, Allison. Great job. Then when we talk about some 90-day goals, so again, these are the things that you want to be thinking about of like, what do you want to do January 1? No, truly, what do you want to do January 1? What do you want to be able to say that you can do? Because we're not a team of people who waits until January 1st, right? No, 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 no. That I get that it's October 1st today, right? But that 1st of January is just an arbitrary date on the calendar where so many people decide, okay, I'm finally going to get my stuff together. Guys, less than 4% of people actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. Less than 4%. That's a really freaking terrible percent. And I believe that it's so terrible because people don't think to start now. That's why we're thinking to start now of, okay, what are we going to do? Where are we going to be? I'll share with you guys, this is very much on something that I don't talk about a lot, but I'm comfortable sharing this with you guys. Logan and I are hoping to be blessed with children in the next year. Like we want to potentially start a family. That means that, okay, I need to be on top of my nutrition. I switched over to, prenatals. I need to make sure I am, I'm training well, I'm taking care of my body, I'm sleeping, I'm resting. My goals are changing because our life may be changing, right? And that's a really exciting thing, but people don't plan for that stuff. That's why it's so cool to see you guys planning for that stuff. So, what is your life going to look like in the start of 2026? Do you have a vacation that's coming up? Do you have a big family reunion you're headed to? Do you have a race you want to complete? Like, what does that look like, right? All that stuff is really, really, really important to think about. And when we talk about those 90-day goals, right, here are the big ones that we start to look at and reverse engineer with something like fitness, complete a half marathon, right? That's not going to be something you can complete next week, but by the first of the year, could you do it? Absolutely, you could, right? Achieve specific strength goals, maybe 10 unassisted pull-ups or push-ups or a 300-pound deadlift. Again, whatever goals those you want those to be. With nutrition, right? Maintain a healthy plan for 90 days tracking progress. How many of you can say by a show of hands that you've tracked every single thing for the last 90 days in the app? Probably not a lot of us, right? And that's okay, myself included. But it's something where I'm like, okay, what would happen if I was just straight up honest with myself and actually worked on protein, calories, carbs, and fats for the next 90 days? Where would I be? How much different would my physique look? Right? That's an exciting thing. Cooking at home. Maybe you set a goal. All right, 5 days a week or 6 days a week, I'm going to make sure that I am, I'm not eating out or I'm minimally eating out for 3 months. Something that Logan and I have done before, which is kind of cool to do, is if you want to spend money going out and you stay at home, take the money that you think you would have allotted for that and put it in like a separate fund. And then at the end of like a month, you can realize, wow, look at all the times we would have went out and we would have maybe spent this money. Now we can add something to our home gym, or we could, put it towards this or like that, or we can save it for Mexico and we go in March. All of that stuff matters, right? Cooking at home, saving that money, that makes an incredible, incredible difference. If you have some weight management goals, maybe it's 10 pounds or 15 pounds by the beginning of the year. Guys, that's 100% realistic, right? A half a pound to a pound per week, absolutely realistic. Now, keeping in mind what is sustainable for you, right? Right now in my journey, I'll tell you guys, like I have no problem telling you, I sit around 165 to 170 for pounds. It's not realistic for me to say I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I would be skin and bones at 120 pounds, right? That would not be healthy for me. So maybe saying something like, okay, you know what? I want to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year. Totally realistic. But ask yourself that really, what is realistic in that time frame? And our overall wellness, develop a mindfulness practice. Maybe you're incorporating meditation, yoga, maybe you're doing more gratitude, spending more time in the Bible, you're with your devotion, whatever it may be. Again, I do think that that could be a 30-day goal, but maybe you're solidifying it by 90 days. Because the whole goal with these 30, 60, 90s are that you morph and change into something else. And like the habit trackers that I make for you guys, which by the way, if you guys want habit trackers this month, please let me know. I don't have a ton of people who've reached out about them, which is totally fine. But if you want one, let me know because I have the template made. But the goal is that every month you're changing those things, right? If we have just the same thing month to 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 month, it's like, okay, well, are we actually getting better at those habits, right? Now, it's okay for like 2 to 3 months if you're keeping the same things, if you're really working on that. But let's say that you have something on there like take daily supplements and you have that on there for 5 months and you can't figure it out. Okay, well, then maybe something like the tracker's not working, right? Maybe we need timers, maybe we need alarms, maybe we need reminders, we need to up the stakes a little bit for us. So that's the whole goal with those trackers is that they morph and change. And again, 2 to 3 months, you have the same things, that's totally fine. But with these goals, we want them to be able to morph and change. So just remember 90 days from now, I say this and I know it's hard to hear, but you will have 90 days of progress or you will have 90 days of excuses as to why you didn't move closer towards your goals, right? We may not all have the time, but we can make the time. That's what it's about, is making the time. It's difficult. We may have to get up a little bit earlier. That's what I'm going through right now. We maybe have to go to bed a little bit later, although I don't love sacrificing sleep. But you just get it done, right? You just get it done because all of you have the opportunity. You have the ability to be someone who has an able body moving closer towards your goals. And that's something that's really special. So when you write these next 30-day goals to me, I want you to keep in mind maybe what 60 and 90 are. I'm not telling you you have to have 60 and 90 figured out right now. But if you can't figure out a way to take your 30-day goal and make it a 60 or 90-day goal, we might need to rework that 30-day goal, right? So let's say that, again, I say something like, I'm going to run a half marathon by the end of the month. I can't really turn that into a 60 or a 90-day goal, right? Because I've said 30 days, but it's very unrealistic in 30 days. So maybe I need to go back and revisit and make that a 90-day goal. So again, if you can't grow and change those goals as the month goes on, that's something that we need to focus on. Okay? What questions do you guys got for me or anything that you want to share with your goals personally for this next month? I think if you guys need some inspo, you all should go back and look at said looking at what you said at the beginning of the year. What were going to be some of your goals when we talked at the beginning of the year? Many of you probably still have those somewhere. Yeah, Emily, I love that. Getting to train with Kelsey done before Friday. Me too, girl. Me too. That's my goal is to get all of them done by Friday so I can have my weekends to rest. I love that. And like you said, getting up early to do them because you feel good with that. For sure. Yep. Awesome. Well, good. Again, in your assessments this week, guys, I'm going to talk about those goals and make sure that we have nutrition, we have fitness, and we have support to focus on those goals and to help you thrive with that. So if you have any questions about that, if you're thinking like, okay, you know what? Here's where I really want to be at the beginning of the year. What do I got to do to reverse engineer that? And if you're hitting some roadblocks or you're not really sure, reach out to me. I'll help you. No problem. That's what we're here for. So I look forward to hearing back from you guys. I think that's all I got for you this week. If you don't have anything else for me, if you, again, need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Have a great rest of your guys' evening and get those assessments in, and I'll plan to check in with y'all soon. All right, take care.